This episode of April and Jay Have No Ideas is brought to you by the misconnection sections of Craigslist, because screw you, that's why. White Castle. You were the thick, sexy man with a beard. You saw me checking you out while I was with my friends. I want to do some nasty, nasty things with you. Posted 36 minutes ago. I'm April.
And I'm not Jay.
And we have no ideas. So, tonight, Jay is still on vacation. He was posting pictures all day from Disney World. And so I have another guest host. We have Mike here.
Hey.
Hi.
What a great way to start it off.
I know, right? Yeah. This is the thing. Jay and I work very well together because we've known each other for so long that, like, he tends to just pick up my slack.
Oh, who's going to pick up either of our slacks?
I don't know. But anyway, so Mike is another host on the Random Chatter Network. And you host
the Caped Chronicles.
And what's that about, Mike?
Well, the Caped Chronicles, we're going back. We started with Superman from 1978, and we're going back and watching all the old superhero movies, whether Marvel or DC or any other random organization, and namely Ninja Turtles. And we are discussing them, see how they break down to today's society and today's culture and today's movies, and having a good time. We just finished, and we just posted, actually, the Ninja Turtles from 1990. And the next one that we are going to bear our way through is going to be the 1984 Supergirl. So definitely, you can skip that one if you really want to.
Is that the one with Helen Slater?
Yes.
Who plays Supergirl's mother on the TV show?
On Smallville?
No, on Supergirl.
That's right. And no, the girl who played the witch in the movie, I believe, played a couple episodes of Smallville.
Oh, okay.
So it's interesting. It was definitely an eye opener from where we are now, especially with fresh Wonder Woman in our minds over this one. But yeah, and then a couple more in the works. But we're excited. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, Mike, Jay, and Eric and I have a super secret one that has been in the works for a couple of months, and hopefully
it'll come out here for the next couple of months.
So today is Thursday, July 5th, and we are recording, kind of late in the evening, later than we normally do, but this is all good because I will be able to post this episode for our regularly scheduled release date. So you'll be hearing this on Sunday, and Jay will be back from his vacation, and I will be on mine. So I'm thinking he's probably gonna have a guest host, but who knows? So there may or may not be an episode in between this one and when I return. I guess it all depends upon what Jay wants to do.
We're going to leave on something good then, I guess.
All right, so this week we are going to be discussing the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the DC Extended Universe, because Mike and I have been arguing about this for several months now.
Yes, we're going to keep this extremely civil.
Well, just remember, this is an NSFW podcast, so if you feel the need to swear, go right ahead.
I probably won't. But I do want to preface this up front before anybody gets weird ideas. Yes, I am a DC fan, but I have nothing against the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I want everybody to know that I do not have hate toward Marvel. Matter of fact, I'm going to go see a Marvel movie tomorrow. So, but
And I don't necessarily have anything against the DC universe, and I will see all the movies, but I'm just gonna put it out there that Marvel makes a superior movie.
I will. Hey, I'm not gonna deny that one. That's true. They make a more superior movie. They really do. And we can get into more of that here just a little bit too.
Yeah.
I have that on here, and I have issues with that.
Okay.
But so how do you want to start then, April?
Well, we can jump right in. Let's see. So Mike and I decided that we're going to expand it just a little bit because Marvel has put out so many movies in the last 10 years compared to the DCEU. So we're going to expand it out to Batman Begins, so with Christopher Nolan, and work our way in.
Okay, we could do that. So do you want to hear my main problem with that movie?
With Batman Begins?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I cannot stand Christian Bale.
Really?
And that takes me out of the whole trilogy. Now, I don't mind The Dark Knight, and I don't mind The Dark Knight Rises, because I really like Heath Ledger's Joker. But I had a hard time with Batman Begins because Christian Bale's voice just pulls me out of that whole. It's so irritating. I mean, he uses the same voice as Batman as he does as Bruce Wayne.
Okay.
And if I was anybody that was around Batman and Bruce Wayne, I'd be like, oh, I know who you are. I didn't like him. Anyways, yeah.
I mean, that's fair enough. Now let me ask you this, because of the way that Christian Bale kind of established the 21st century Batman, Ben Affleck does that voice.
Right, but he actually has a voice box that he uses that they developed in his suit, that he talks normal and they contort his voice into Batman.
Okay.
But Ben Affleck's voice is normal when he talks as Bruce, but when as Batman, they do have a box that contorts it into a deeper voice as Batman.
See, now,
it does not sound the same.
I didn't really notice the difference in his voices. I mean, I should say, like, that didn't take me out. Like, I didn't particularly think that his Batman voice was the same as Bruce Wayne's voice.
Well, all right, so I do like the visuals for that movie.
Okay.
I think the visuals are stunning. I think the way they brought Batman into the 21st century is great. But I had an issue with Christian Bale as the actor, and I think that's kind of what took me out. And the same thing is true with Ben Affleck, though. When Ben Affleck played Batman, when I heard he was cast, I said, oh no, there goes Batman. Because I grew up with Batman the Animated Series. That was my first introduction to superheroes, was Batman the Animated Series. So to me, Batman is the guy. He is the man you don't mess with. And if it's done right, it's done right. If it's done wrong, I'll let you know. But Ben Affleck did a great job. I would almost go so far as to rather picking Val Kilmer over Christian Bale. And I know that's hard to say. And
okay.
I threw up a little bit in my mouth as I said it. But I don't like Christian Bale. But I thought the stories were good, though.
Now, is it just you don't like Christian Bale because of the voice, or did you not like him previous to it?
I just didn't like his voice. I just didn't like the way he portrayed I didn't like the way he portrayed Bruce Wayne or Batman.
Okay.
It's just the actor, and that kind of Now I'll watch it. I enjoy it. I love the soundtrack, and I love the like I said, the visual and the stories. But no, I don't get me started on Anne Hathaway as Catwoman either.
So I fell asleep seeing Batman Begins in the theater the first time I saw it. My dad and I had gone on a trip. I think that was the trip to Florida. Yeah, it was the trip to Florida. Because I was looking at law schools, which I didn't end up going to. So I didn't get back until really late. I mean, we had been up since 5 o'clock in the morning. And I get back to town, and he was my boyfriend at the time, but my husband was like, let's go see Batman Begins. And so we went to I don't know, a 10 o'clock movie. So I'm exhausted. And I'm sitting through the movie, and then I wake up, and I probably missed a good hour of it.
Oh my goodness.
So we leave the theater, and I'm talking to my husband, and like I said, I didn't realize that I'd fallen asleep, and so we're discussing the movie, and he starts talking about something. I can't remember what it was. And I said, "When did that happen?" He goes, "You were watching the same movie as me." I said, "I think I missed something." And sure enough, yeah, when I rewatched it, I was like, I missed like an hour of this movie.
Oh my goodness.
But that doesn't, I mean, I enjoyed Batman Begins. It's not my favorite of the trilogy. Not by a long shot.
Right. Right. It's probably number 3 for me out of that trilogy.
I would probably agree with you. I mean, it's kind of slow moving. It takes a while to get into anything worth watching. I mean, Liam Neeson's great. He's great in everything. So, even he did a movie not too long ago. It was like Run All Night. Even that was a terrible movie, but he was even good in that.
I thought you were going to say The Phantom Menace.
No. I told you, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I mean, I've seen them all, but I'm not like super fan like most of the people that we talk to. So, yeah.
Most of the people on Twitter.
I stay away from the Star Wars stuff on Twitter.
Oh, it's a hot dumpster fire right now. It's so funny it's so funny to try not get involved in that.
Yeah.
Oh.
I stay away from that kind of stuff. I tend to get more involved in the political stuff on Twitter. But anywho's'll be. That's neither here nor there. I like it. I don't love it. It's not my favorite. I think out of all the DC movies over the last 15 years, the Christopher Nolan Batman movies are probably the best, except for Wonder Woman. And we'll talk about Wonder Woman after.
Oh, I can't believe you said that. Oh. I actually did not mind Batman versus Superman. We can get into that later.
Okay.
Oh, that's going to be funny. But, and then so if we're going to go back to the Nolan trilogy, then we ought to address the 2003 Incredible Hulk. And it wasn't Edward Norton and it wasn't Mark Ruffalo. Who was it that played?
Eric Bana.
Yeah.
That was a dumpster fire.
That was a dumpster fire with tires burning on top and everything. Mm-hmm. And it just, I didn't. And you know what? That's probably one reason why I got turned off to Marvel so much, because that was the first, I believe, I may be mistaken, but I think the first Marvel movie I saw in theaters was Iron Man. But the first Marvel movie I think I saw was that Hulk one.
I've seen them all in the theaters. And let's see. So Hulk 2003 was Ang Lee is the one who directed it.
Oh boy. And there's a reason he's not working in the MCU anymore.
Yeah, I mean 2003, so I was already with my husband, so I saw that in the theater because I've seen every comic movie with him since 2002.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I usually go alone when I go to movies to see now my wife watches them, but she watches them after they come out on DVD. She'll watch them at home where she can take her time and go through it. But normally I have a couple people that go with me when I do go. If not, I just go alone and watch it. I don't care.
That's how I saw The Dark Knight Rises.
I'll just get a nice seat of popcorn, sit there and watch a movie.
But yeah, no, I hated both Hulk movies. I'm just gonna get that right out of the way.
You know, I was okay with the Edward Norton one.
Nope.
I thought it was okay. I think if they had given him more chance to develop, I think he would have been a good Hulk in the MCU. But I mean, I like Mark Ruffalo, but I think I didn't mind that one. I would have liked to see Abomination again come back somehow in through the MCU. We know he's there, and he's just been chained up.
I'm trying to think.
He was that really irritating soldier guy that got shot up with the serum
Mm-hmm.
at the end, and he turned into the Abomination.
Right.
Right. And they didn't kill him at the end of that movie. All they did is Hulk beat the crap out of him.
I'm just
and
trying
knocked
to
him out.
see who played him. Was it Josh Lucas?
It may have been.
Was he Talbot? Was that his name first?
No, Talbot was the general, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I found it boring. I didn't like it a lot. I mean, I didn't like it at all. I mean, it doesn't even stick out in my mind, like how, the movie was 15 years ago. I couldn't even tell you what it was about, because it's something that's kind of stayed, I think I saw it in the theater, and that was about the last time I saw it.
Yeah, well, yeah. And I don't know if it was Talbot or not. I'm looking. That's going to bother me now unless I know what it is. Because the general was Ross.
Right, was Sam Elliott.
Emil Blonsky was the guy who played the Abomination, or who was the Abomination. Tim Roth is the guy who actually played the part of Emil Blonsky. He also played. I'm trying to see if he played anything good. No, he didn't play anything good. He played in the awful remake of Planet of the Apes in 2001.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't think he's really done anything since that. That probably shot his career.
Nope. You're confusing movies.
No.
Abomination
is into 2008.
Yes.
Right, that's what I'm talking about.
We were talking about 2003.
I've been talking about 2008 the whole time.
For crying out loud! Are you kidding me? I'm looking at the 2003 IMDb, going, "Who are you talking about?" Because he's not there. Because I was saying how I didn't like that one, and okay, so 2008. Let me catch up. Jeez Louise!
I just figured we just skipped over 2003 because of how bad the dumpster fire was.
No, I thought we were talking about it. Good God. Okay. So the deal with Edward Norton. You know why he was not in the MCU, right?
I think I heard something, but I'm not 100% sure. So
he was an absolute monster on set.
Okay, and that's what I heard, but I heard the same thing about Mark Ruffalo, that he's hard to work with.
Really? That's surprising, because he seems like such a chill, like, nice guy. Edward Norton wanted a lot, and I remember when this was going on, he wanted a lot of creative control. He wanted them to, like, reshoot stuff that, they really didn't need to. I mean, he was very hard to work with, and I think that's why they kind of just said, we're not going to do any more of this with him.
I heard that the reason that Mark Ruffalo, they have an issue with him, is because he's arrogant on the set, and the other actors have an issue working with him, not from the creative aspect, but as far as the just working with him.
Really?
He's very difficult. Yeah.
That's absolutely shocking.
Hey, I'm not in the movie industry. I just read whatever Wikipedia puts. No. No, I really don't know. But that's just what I've heard. So, but anyways,
that's interesting, because like I said, I mean I follow Mark Ruffalo a lot on different social media, and he's a delight. But you know what? I mean, that could just be his public persona. I mean, you don't really know
what he's like in private.
Yeah.
Right. And that one's actually, the Edward Norton one, though, is considered. They don't like to consider it canon, but it is considered canon in the MCU.
Yes, and that's part of the reason I think why William Hurt plays General Ross in all of the movies.
Yeah. That way they keep that continuity through it.
Yes, because 2003 2003 is not part of the MCU canon.
No, it's not. It's not at all. And I was actually looking this up today, and I believe that when the movie came out, I'm trying to think. So I'm trying to think which one came out first. I think Iron Man came out first. So Iron Man came out first in May, and it was a smashing success.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had Incredible Hulk came out in 2008, and it was a okay, but I almost think that they kind of thought about if they want to continue to pursue it or not, like the MCU. It almost makes you think that, because then you have a 2-year gap before Iron Man 2 came out.
Right.
Between the two. So it's almost as if they thought, okay, the first one was good, the second one was bad, do we have something here? And I think they did kind of find, and I think they struggled the next 2 movies with Iron Man 2 and Thor. But I think they really hit a good target when they did Captain America in 2011. I think they started the uphill climb from there. Because I was bothered by Thor. I just thought it was boring, the first one.
Okay. Well, before we go there, if we're going to go chronologically, Dark Knight came out in 2008.
Okay.
And so you're not a fan of the Christopher Nolan.
No,
not at all.
But I don't. Like I said, I don't mind the movies. It's just I don't. I'm not a fan of the portrayal of the person who played Batman.
Okay, but can you concede at least that Heath Ledger is probably the best Joker to have ever played the Joker?
Well, I mentioned this on the Caped Chronicles podcast as well, that I think Heath Ledger had the great psychological part of the Joker down.
Okay.
But I think Jack Nicholson had the great Joker comedy side down over Heath Ledger. Now, if you combine those two, I think you get the Jerome that we got in Gotham.
Okay.
And I think he's a good mixture of those two. And I think that's what and then I'm not going to spoil anything else for anybody else, but I think that was a good mixture. But I will concede that he is a very good Joker. And I was grateful to have him. I think he was very good at the time.
Okay.
I know they originally offered it to Nicholson, and he turned him down.
You know what? I mean, Nicholson's good. He's, he was a good Joker. But I think if we're keeping kind of age appropriate, because that's kind of what it looks like, is that what they were doing is all the villains were age appropriate to Batman.
Right.
So, he would have been too old, and also I think they were going with, a much darker film, and you needed somebody who portrayed that darkness and that, psychotic behavior. I think Jack Nicholson, if he was in The Dark Knight, I think he would have been too campy.
Right. I think they needed somebody that could really get dark, and I think that's one reason why he turned it down. He couldn't get as dark as they were looking for. And Heath Ledger said, "Yeah, I'll do it."
And unfortunately, he could never get past that personal darkness. And
no, because now they said, and when I've read articles about it, they said that he read every Joker he can get his hands on. He watched Jack Nicholson. He watched every Joker that he could anything about Joker he watched, and he watched other criminal movies where people were psychotic just to kind of get his mindset into that persona. And they also said that while he was around set too, when he wasn't doing a scene, he would continue to stay in that makeup and that acting.
Yeah, he was
keep
method.
his mind in that dark area, and I think it ended up consuming him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he had even said in like interviews that he had a really hard time snapping out of it, and he lost a lot of sleep and whatnot. And I think that's what led to the accidental overdose.
Yeah.
But okay, so Let's go to...
We don't have to do that. We could just go over the general. If we don't want to talk about every movie individually,
Okay.
we could, if you want, we could do that, or we could just talk about the general issues we have with both universes. If however you want to do it, you are the boss lady on the show. That's why your name is first.
Well, I just figure we talk about. I mean, because like I said, I wanted to just talk about the Batman ones really fast, even though we've talked about them quite a bit. Because like the Dark Knight Returns or Dark Knight Rises, sorry. I thought that one would probably be my number 2 in the.
Yeah. Mine too.
Although I do feel that Bane got to be just a tiny bit campy.
I don't think they used Bane the way they could have, because he became a, and I know in the comics and in the cartoons and that kind of thing, he was a good, I don't want to say assistant to Poison Ivy, but he was a good kind of a sidekick to a point. But Bane is good enough to be, I think, a main villain on his own if they let him go. But he ended up not being the main villain.
Right.
And I think that's where they screwed up at the end of that movie, is that they did not let him be the main villain. Now, I'm okay with how they tried to clean it up and tie it in a nice bow. And then I was kind of upset because obviously they wanted, what's his name?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
Yes. Obviously, they wanted him to be... They had other options in mind to go on with this trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no doubt they wanted him to be Robin. But they just stopped for some reason.
I don't know why they didn't...
Stopped.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, Christopher Nolan didn't really want to go... I think he just wanted to do a trilogy. But I don't know why they didn't just pick Joseph Gordon-Levitt up and move him over to the DCEU.
Well, see, I think if they would have started with the Nolan trilogy over Man of Steel, because so many people had issues with Man of Steel, which I don't mind Man of Steel.
Oh, I had issues.
But, I mean, there are some issues I had with it, yes, but I didn't mind it. But I like Zack Snyder. So, I think if they would have started with the Nolan trilogy and established a universe within those 3 movies, and Bill started the DCEU from there, I almost don't know how Marvel would have competed. Now, I'm not saying Marvel wouldn't have been able to, because they had Disney's backing.
Mm-hmm.
But I also believe that it wouldn't have been a Marvel's the standard now. Nobody can keep up with them. It would have been a constant tug of war between the two if they would have kept going with it. And I think that that's where they made their mistake, was stopping and then waiting so long to do something else.
Yeah, because you figure Dark Knight Rises... Well, actually... Dark Knight Rises came out in 2012, and then Man of Steel is 2013. So they didn't wait too long for at least the DCEU to really get, jump started.
Well, the DCU's problem is that the DC's problem is that they keep hitting the reset button.
Right.
Instead of just owning up to the mistake and building from it, they keep just hitting the reset button, and that's one thing that's got me irritated about. If they're going to direction with the future Flash movie with Flashpoint, it's almost as though they're going to try to hit a reset button. Because if Ben Affleck does not come back to play Batman in Matt Reeves' Batman movie, then what you're looking at is, okay, Flashpoint's going to hit reset, and we're going to start the DCU all over again. And it's just, it'd be really irritating, because I think we hit some good ground with the latest DCU movies, and I may be in the minority on that one. But I think we hit some good ground.
Okay.
And I think you hit something you can build upon.
Okay.
But I think if they hit the reset, they're saying, okay, everything was garbage. Now we're scrapping it. So the last 5 or 6 years we've been doing these movies, just ignore all those. We're starting over. And I think that's been DC's problem after the 90s. Once Marvel hit, is they can't stay consistent.
Okay. So. You said that you had an issue with Thor.
Okay.
What's your issue with Thor?
I thought the story was boring in the first one.
Okay.
I thought it was I don't know, it was just, I thought it was boring. I don't like how I'm okay with how they brought him into the MCU, but I just thought the story itself was boring. And I don't think it got any better in Thor 2. I think it got worse. But I think Ragnarok, when it came out, kind of put my confidence back into Thor a little bit.
Okay.
And I actually enjoyed Ragnarok. I think the way they presented him in the first two was wrong. But
in what way? In what way?
I think the story was just plain. He's a rich kid. He gets thrown out. Oh, I'm thrown down to earth now, and oh, I can't get my hammer because I'm not clean. So now I gotta go prove myself, and I'll sacrifice myself to save everybody. Oh, look, my hammer comes back. I get my suit, and now I can beat people up. It seemed like a typical scheme for a movie, and I was expecting something different. Now, what I will say though is that something Marvel has done that I think is really good is that they've taken D-list characters and made them really good A+ characters.
Like who?
Like, all right. So if you look in the, if you watch the shows or anything in the comics, Iron Man was never an A-list person. Like you would see Captain America was the big one. You'd see Hulk was a big one, but Iron Man was there, but he was kind of in the background. But I think when they brought him out and made him the prominent person among the MCU, I think they really bolstered him from a D-list to an A-list.
Okay.
So that's what I mean as far as that. But no, I had having issues with Thor. I just thought it was the same thing. Now let me guess, you liked Thor?
Okay. No, I mean I like all of the movies. But let me just back up for 1 second because this is going to be like kind of way out there. But did you see the movie Adventures in Babysitting?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Because they actually, one of the characters, the little girl that was being babysat, she was a big, big fan of Thor.
Really?
Yes. Huge fan of Thor. I mean, this movie is, 31 years old now. But she was a big fan of Thor. And there's a part where they end up down in the city and they're at, I believe it's a garage, like a car repair shop. And Vincent D'Onofrio plays the guy that works there, and he's kind of arrogant and whatnot. And you're kind of led to believe that he might actually be Thor. Yeah. So I mean, he's got this long blonde hair, but I mean, so I don't know. I mean, I think the first Thor, it gave us some good characters. Right. I'm a big fan of Loki. I absolutely love Loki.
Yes.
And I think that Tom Hiddleston, played such a wonderful character, and he really embodied that character. And I think if nothing else, even if you have a problem with the way that they portrayed Thor, they
made Loki a great anti-hero.
Exactly.
Right. And I think it was good. Now, I will say, I do like the part where he takes the coffee cup, it smashes in the ground, and said, that was good. I'd bring me another.
Yeah.
Okay. So I had to give it that. The story itself just kind of threw me off.
See, now, I felt that way about Thor: The Dark World.
Yes. I think that one was a little too, I think they were trying to shove too much into the time they had. Instead of splitting that up or doing something simpler, I think they try to throw a lot at you.
And I also think that we could have gotten a fourth Thor movie. I mean, I don't think we're going to get that now. So I was kind of disappointed with the fact that they got rid of Jane Foster. I mean, she could have been a good character if they had fleshed her out more. And I really like Darcy Lewis, but that's also because I read a lot of fan fiction, and she's in a lot of... They have her, as a main character in a lot of the fan fiction. But yeah, Thor: The Dark World was kind of on the boring side for me. That's not one that if it's on TV, I'll watch it, but that's not usually one that I will seek out. The 2011 Thor, I will put that one on because I enjoyed that one.
The last time I went through those Thor movies and watched them was right before I went to see Infinity War. Mm-hmm. And I'll probably never watch them again until I have to watch them for Caped Chronicles.
Okay.
But there are some that I do like to watch all the time. Like I don't mind Captain America. I think that was a great first movie. I think, but I am a sucker for World War II stuff as well. So I thoroughly enjoyed that movie because I thought I enjoyed it. I think they built him the way they needed to build him.
See, now that's funny because I was not super familiar with Captain America, at least his origin story. So I didn't know what to expect going into seeing Captain America. And we left the theater and I was like, I was kind of bored. Having rewatched it, it's one of my favorites now.
Right.
Right. But for,
I could see that.
But for a movie where you have to, I mean, this is part of my issue with Marvel, and I will give you this. When they're setting up the origin stories, sometimes they forget that not everybody is already a fan.
Right. I can see that.
And so they make it, unless somebody's going to be going in and researching the character before they go watch the movie, they don't make these movies for the casual viewer, which I think is one of their major faults.
See, I think they do. And now I can agree with you to a point. I think these films are more family friendly than the DCEU films, for sure. Like I would never take, when my daughter turns 15, if she was 15 now, I probably wouldn't take her to see a DCEU film because they're they're darker than the MCU. But I would gladly show her an MCU film because I feel like, and this is one of the problems I have with the MCU, is I feel like they, except for Iron Man, I feel like they put comedy over substance.
I disagree with you.
I'm not saying that there's not substance there, but I feel there's more substance in the DC universe than there is in the Marvel, and Marvel's job is to try to connect everything to lead up to the Infinity War, which is great. Because you have, 15 years, 13 years, whatever, of leading up to that. But there's a lot of comedy in those, which is fine.
See, but here's the thing, though. Phase 1 was much more serious than phases 2 and 3. Phase 1, I don't think they added the comedy really, except for maybe a couple of funny parts here and there. I don't think you really start getting, into the yucks until you get to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, I think the Iron Man movies had a great balance of comedy and substance. I think his portrayal of Tony Stark with his one-liners I think was good, but I do agree with you. I think Phase 1 was more serious, but I think they were trying to build something up before they went into Phase 2, which they would bring some comedy in. But the DCEU from the beginning has been straight.
Oh, absolutely. That's
straight seriousness. There's no comedy.
That's some dark stuff there.
And I think that's where people have issues.
Well, see, here's the thing, though. With Marvel, I wasn't saying that they're not family friendly. I think they're perfectly family friendly, with the exception of maybe, I don't think Captain America: The Winter Soldier is really a movie that. I mean, there's not a lot of swearing in it, but there's definitely some violence. I mean, the Winter Soldier is a pretty violent dude. But what I was saying is, as far as when they first started with Phase 1, until you got to the Avengers, I mean, you had Iron Man, you had Thor, you had Captain America: The First Avenger. If you didn't really know a lot about these characters going in, they really had to do something to capture your attention, and I think they kind of failed with the First Avenger. And I think they did a little bit with Thor. It wasn't until probably the Avengers that I went back and was like, okay, Thor is a much more enjoyable character now, and same with Captain America.
Well, I think they failed with the Hulk too.
Well, we agreed though, the Hulk is garbage.
Right. But, well, I mean, like you said, I think they did fail to establish the Hulk properly.
Absolutely.
And I think that's after you see the Hulk in the Edward Norton 2008, you don't see anything about or hear anything about the Hulk until the Avengers again.
Right.
So it's yeah.
All right.
I agree.
Let's talk some shit about DCEU for a little bit.
No, we get off of that. All right, so let me. I'm about to blast DCEU. I hate the multiple universe idea.
I do too.
That is something that's just horrifically ticking me off. Especially, and I understand the new banner with the new Joker too. As a DC person, you'll understand what they're doing when they're trying to do. They're doing a separate universe with the Joker's origin story. So which is irritating because, and see, this is where DCU has a problem. I don't care because I'm a DCU fan, so I understand what they're doing.
Right.
But your average viewer who goes to the movie to see, say, Antman and the Wasp, they're not going to know, wait a minute, what about the other guy that just played the Joker? What happened to him?
Right.
Your average viewer is not going to understand that. And I think they're shooting themselves in the foot when they do that mess all the time.
No, I agree. I'm very much bothered. I mean, I was bothered from the beginning. Only because we already had established characters because of the very successful TV shows that we've had over the last couple of years.
Right.
So the fact that they said from the jump, these are going to be completely separate. Think of it as a multiverse. We're not going to do anything with, these characters on TV. They're never going to meet up with the characters in the movies. Big mistake.
I could give you that to a point though too. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with establishing a different universe because there is a multiverse in the DC comics. So I'm okay with that. But I think Marvel has that problem too, and this is some of my points as well, is that I think both fail for connectivity on TV and movies.
Okay.
And here's why I'm saying that. I think DC fails because they don't allow the TV shows to connect into the movies at all. They say no, this is not going to happen. Get over it. Marvel says that yeah, we're connected, but really, are we connected?
Yes.
To a point, the movies will affect the TV shows when they want them to affect the TV shows, and I think it's. I'll give you an example. All right, the Sokovia Accords.
Yep.
Okay, has no bearing on anybody on the Netflix Marvel shows.
Okay, so the Netflix Marvel shows, first of all, take place before Infinity War.
Okay, but after the Sokovia Accords.
Do they?
Yes.
Okay, but
yes.
also think about the Marvel, the Netflix cast of characters. These people, they're more your anti-heroes than anything when you really look at it. I mean, Daredevil, he's a hero, but at the same time, he's in the Civil War comics. He was on the side of Captain America. He was not signing any of the accords. Same with Luke Cage and Jessica Jones. They were on Cap's side. I don't really know where Iron Fist fit in. I didn't read his comics.
I don't know either. So why not connect that into the movies? I understand you need to keep them. It's a different deal. I get that, but why not connect them? For example, how come Tony Stark can find Peter Parker in New York, but yet nothing is mentioned, even in a movie? It could just be a passing line about how the Defenders walked into like Rand Industries, and it can even just be a passing line, but even recognize that they are in that universe. But how come he can find Peter Parker in New York, but he can't find Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, or Danny Rand and whatever the other one's name is, I can't remember now, Daredevil?
Because Daredevil is only the way that, and I just finished watching Luke Cage like 2 nights ago. So,
not me. I've only finished 4 episodes, and it's been a better pickup, or I'm gonna stop watching it.
Oh, it's so good, except for the last episode. The last episode really pissed me off. But when you look at the way that they've set them up, he's the devil of Hell's Kitchen. Nobody outside really of the immediate area kind of knows who he is. Same with Luke Cage. He's the hero of Harlem. I don't think they're on the government's radar.
But would they have been on Peter Parker's radar? Because he lived there.
Yeah, he lives in Queens, doesn't he?
Right, but he still would have heard about a guy running around beating people up at night. I mean,
he's busy beating up people at night. He doesn't give a shit.
I get it. I feel like there's not as much connectivity as they would want us to think.
Okay.
And I think that kind of doesn't. I think that they want to push that. Well, for example, the Hulu series, what is it called?
The Runaways.
The Runaways. They say is not in the universe of the MCU.
Okay.
Why not? Well, they're characters from the Marvel. Why not allow them to be part of the universe? Why make them separate? The same way, obviously, that we know, like, The Gifted is in a different universe because Fox owns them for now.
Who does Marvel own the rights to the Runaways, or is there some weird?
No. As far as I know, Marvel owns the rights, and Disney owns a majority share in Hulu now as well.
Okay.
So why not make them part of the universe? Why never? They've even come out and say we're not going to have them cross into any part of the MCU. Why not?
I think because
I get it, but
it's too big at this point. Think about the world building they've done. It's too big. Coulson doesn't even cross over. He's finally going back, to the movie universe, but he's going to be in a movie that takes place, 30 years ago.
Right.
So I do like the fact that they're making sure that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does not start until after Avengers 4, because they want to make sure that continuity stays. I can't hear you. Did you hit mute?
I did. Okay. So if you haven't seen Infinity War by now, speed ahead by about 15 seconds. I'm about to spoil something for you. All right? This is your last warning. Here we go. I do not like how they did not allow what happened in Infinity War to impact Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I understand. All right? Like when you had the people pass off, I get it. But it never said anybody in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at all.
That's because
dusted out.
No, that's because of when it took place.
But it was specifically mentioned in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Did you not hear what's going on in New York right now? So they were referencing what was going on in Infinity War in the show.
But Infinity War didn't take place in New York. It took place in Wakanda.
No, not that one. I'm talking about the first scene in Infinity War where Doctor Strange, Tony Stark, and all them are together. Right. Over there by the Sanctum Sanctorum. So nothing, they've even mentioned it in the show, but nothing happened in the show after that in regards to, so my thought would be, okay, if they want to keep going with that, that's fine. But you better open the next Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with maybe a flashback or something of what happened to those people, because all that could have happened before Thanos snapped his fingers.
This is the thing, though, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the next season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. takes place, isn't even coming out.
Right, until after Infinity War. So are we going to get a flashback to see some of the people from S.H.I.E.L.D. maybe float out, and then you're going to see how they get back, however Infinity War happens. Part 2. So does everything that happened in the last season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. happen before Thanos snapped his finger between them mentioning there's something going on in New York, did you hear about it, and Thanos snapping his fingers, the season finale happened? That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. Because
So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ends, and Tyrion is talking to Talbot and saying Thanos and his forces have begun an assault on your world even as we speak.
Right.
So
all of that season finale had to have happened before Thanos snapped his fingers.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. So what I'm saying is they better show something when you come back as to what happened, and kind of a flashback. But we're getting way off topic. But I have an issue. I do agree with you though. I do think that DC screwed themselves up by not allowing that universe to be in with their universe.
See, my other issue with it though too is when they're talking about this, how they're going to have now 2 Joker origin story movies.
Yeah.
With 2 different actors, and one isn't going to figure into the DCEU. It's like, what's the point?
Right. And I addressed that pretty fervently on the Patreon bonus extra recording, and I was very upset about that. I think that was the dumbest mistake they could ever make, because your average viewer is not going to understand. Oh, what happened to Jared Leto? Even if they don't know his name.
Yep.
Like, wait a minute, I saw that guy in Suicide Squad and Justice League or whatever. Where's he at?
Right.
Who's this guy? So I think that's an issue with them.
So let's talk about Justice League since you mentioned it.
All right, your thoughts?
I have never gotten so angry about a movie. I went into a complete and utter nerd rage for 2 days after seeing that movie.
Okay, well, what about it bothered you?
Okay, let's see.
Be civil.
One of my biggest issues was the fact that first of all, that they changed Wonder Woman's costume.
Okay.
And that there was a lot of... You could tell the difference... Now, let me just back up. I loved Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is probably top 3 favorite superhero movies for me.
Yeah, I think it was very good.
I absolutely loved it. I thought it was phenomenal. It's, like I said, it's top 3. It's also one of those things where it's like, okay, well, this is what happens when a woman directs a movie starring a woman, and you see the way that, it was I don't know, it was without the male gaze, which was so nice to see, and it was so powerful. And then to go to Justice League, and half the shots of Diana were like of her ass. And, they made... I didn't love the storyline. I thought the story was kind of stupid. I think they kind of screwed the pooch by not introducing everybody in their own movies first and then bringing them together.
I can see that. I can understand why they didn't do that for Cyborg.
Fine, don't do it for Cyborg, but really you're gonna
Right.
give us just snippets of the Flash. Why don't we have his backstory first? Why don't we know why his dad is in jail? Why don't we know all of this stuff? Same with Aquaman. Give us the I don't even like Aquaman, but give us the Aquaman movie first.
So they tried to do the team up before they did the introductions.
Right.
Kind of like right. And I can give you that. I can give you that. I actually didn't have an issue with the story, because I understand that story is not the end. That's just the beginning of the story where they're going. Steppenwolf is not the main villain. I understand that. He is a predecessor to what's coming. So I get that. I understand that. One thing that I had an issue with, and one thing I do have an issue with the DCU, is the fact that, and especially Justice League, is everything seemed to revolve around Superman.
Yes.
And if anybody knows me, I love DC, but I hate Superman. I do. I think he's too powerful. I think he's not a relatable character, because when he can't figure out how to beat a villain, he finds a new power he had from Krypton that he can beat this guy. And I think that's irritating. I do not like Superman. I do not like the way they had to have Superman to win. and I think it bothers me. And I think that's one issue I had with Justice League.
Oh,
A lot
another
of people
issue that I
complain
had.
about, huh?
Oh no, I was gonna say another issue I had was the fact that, that Bruce would actually let Martha's farm go into foreclosure. Like, really? You mean to tell me that after everything that you went through with Superman, and that you weren't keeping an eye on his mother, and when you saw that things were getting tough, you didn't swoop in and take care of it? Are you kidding me?
Well, I can see that, but I can also see that if he was too busy trying to worry about the parademons and try to figure out what's coming, and one thing that's been known of Bruce is that even in the whatever scenario he's in, whatever media he's in, is that when he gets his mind on something, he zones in on that and ignores everything else. So if his mindset was focused on something's coming, he's finding weird symbols, he's dealing with parademons, his mindset may not have been, oh, I'll deal with, Martha later. That may not have been his mindset. It may have been, what's coming, I have to protect the greater world, not just to worry about a house having for. Now I get it. He could have just bought the bank like he did at the end of the movie and been done. But it's I can give you that. A lot of people had an issue with the CGI.
I didn't notice it.
Me neither. I didn't. Now unless you're like really looking, but
I was.
I didn't notice it. I really didn't. I'm trying to think of what. So one of my issues was Warner Brothers. They told when Zack Snyder left because of family situations, and I understand that.
Right.
You can tell the scenes that were Zack Snyder and scenes that were Joss Whedon. There's an obvious difference. And I think that Warner Brothers came in and said, okay, you have such and such money, maybe 60 million. You have this many weeks, finish it, do reshoots, be done. Okay, well, you're not really, you're telling a man to take somebody else's work and finish it, but in your own flavor with only so much money and so much time. And,
okay.
And I think that's where they screwed up. They should have just said, all right, we understand Zack Snyder has had some issues. We're going to have to put the movie on hold. I understand they filmed maybe half it by then. I get that. But the better scenario would have been them to put it on hold until if Zack Snyder wants to come back. And if not, look at, okay, what can we do? Instead of trying to fit it into the window because you already had a date on the calendar where you're going to put it into theaters, instead of fitting it into that window, say we're pushing the date back. It would have been smarter to push the date back, especially with Thor coming out right by it.
Yeah.
It would have been smarter to push the date back and say we're going to take over in like January. We're going to have a January box office. That give them another month or two to kind of finish up, wrapping and kind of doing some more things and really doing a good job editing. But he had to do a quick patch and repair job.
But I think he was. But wasn't he involved from the beginning, anyways?
No. As far as I know, he was not. He had come in after Zack Snyder, because Zack Snyder's been in there from the beginning, so it's been his things outside of Patty Jenkins. So it's been his world he's been building, and Joss came in later on.
And his world is not. I mean, and I know that you're a fan. His world is not that great.
You just kick me like I'm back in kindergarten.
I'm sorry, but so I actually grew up being a fan of Superman.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I know. I've seen the error of my ways since then, but I was super excited for Man of Steel, and I went with one of my buddies because my husband hates Superman. So my friend Rob and I went to see Man of Steel, and we walked out of that theater going, why? It wasn't good. I was so disappointed because I wanted to love it.
And see, I probably just didn't like, since I don't like Superman, it didn't bother me much. I could just care less because it was a Superman movie. It was pretty good because I don't read a lot about Superman. I could just care less about him. And
same with Batman versus Superman. I mean,
I loved it.
Are you kidding me?
No, I liked Batman vs Superman. I
liked Suicide Squad way more than I liked Batman vs Superman.
Oh, I hated Suicide Squad. I liked the characters of Suicide Squad, but I hated the story. I think they did themselves a bad disservice when they revealed pretty much the movie in the trailer. Mm-hmm. I think that killed them. And you shouldn't have to watch the extended edition, I get it, in order to understand the story and get the story and make it better. I think the extended edition is the one they should have played in theaters. But I think I enjoyed it. Yes, were there flaws? Yeah, definitely. Do I think they should have killed Superman off so quickly? No. I think they were stupid because then they had to figure out a way to bring him back for Justice League.
I also think that Jesse Eisenberg is a terrible choice for Lex Luthor.
Yeah, I can see that.
He plays him too crazy.
Yeah, Lex was never that crazy in any other medium, so I could see that. So yeah, hey, we agree on that. I think he was awful. I think the Lex Luthor, I can't remember his name now, and Stag was just watched him that played in the original Superman movies. I think he was the best Lex Luthor we've had so far. I don't think anybody can get. I can't remember his name. But speaking of villains, so one thing I think that one issue I have with Marvel, and this is a big one people have, is a lot of people say, and it may be a personal, I did a little bit of study on it. A lot of people say that the villains are one-offs, and they don't build the villain.
Okay. I'm just looking at the list of MCU movies right now.
Gene Hackman, by the way, was the name of of Lex Luthor.
Oh, okay.
And I think he did phenomenal.
Yeah, he was a good Lex Luthor. I mean, Kevin Spacey was a terrible Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
But
I'm looking at
that movie was a dumpster fire too.
I'm looking at the films. Let's see in Iron Man you had
Obadiah Stane. Yep.
Obadiah, he was gone. Hulk, you had Abomination, he's gone, whether you realize it or not. Iron Man 2 was that one guy who
Whiplash
with the whips. Yeah. Because number 3 was the oh man, yeah. I think Whiplash was number 2 because he's the one who created all the extra robots. That's the one that had Justin Hammer in it.
Yes. So actually, Justin Hammer was the villain. More so than anything.
Yeah, but you really don't see much of him anymore. What about Thor? Who was the villain in Thor? It wasn't really Loki.
It kind of was, though. I mean...
To a point, yes.
I mean, it was. I mean, Loki was... Well, it was also the Frost Giants. It was Laufey.
Okay. So, Captain America. Red Skull.
But hey, they did bring him back.
Spoiler.
People don't know where they brought him back. But yes. Yeah. Well, actually, you know what? I mean, Jay and I did a whole spoiler episode on Infinity War.
He's not really back, though.
But yeah.
He's one off. Avengers. The main villain was Loki.
Mm-hmm.
But he stayed. So Loki's been the one. Iron Man 3 we had
the
Mandarin guy.
Yeah, the Mandarin. Yeah,
guy. It was the other guy. Then you had the Dark World, which was the elf, the Dark Elf. He's gone. Winter Soldier was who?
Bucky.
He's still there.
Well, actually, it was Bucky, but it was also Hydra, and that's one thing that you can actually kind of say is that in some of them, like in the Captain America movies and to a lesser extent the Avengers, but mostly Captain America, Hydra is really our main villain that's been weaved through some of these movies.
Yeah, to a point. Guardians of the Galaxy. Who was the villain in that one?
Ronan the Accuser?
Yeah, he's gone. Age of Ultron. Ultron. But there's actually a theory going out that he's not really dead. Did you hear about that?
No.
That as long as there is another robot part somewhere else, like pieces somewhere else, he can still reassemble himself, or he found a way to jump back into the web and stuff. So that's actually a theory going on right now. Antman was Yellow Jacket.
Yes. Which,
Civil
by the
War.
way, he was actually a fairly decent villain.
Yeah. Civil War, there was no really villain.
What do you... Wait a minute. Yes, there was.
Well, he's not dead. He's in prison, but he was a one-off villain. But he's not really a villain. He's just a manipulator. He was the guy who manipulated those two.
Yeah, but the thing is that they underutilized that character.
Okay. Doctor Strange.
That was... Well, it was...
Whoever that one guy was.
Casillas?
Yeah.
Casillas?
Oh, I wasn't thinking about the deity. I was thinking about the other guy.
Oh, no. Dormammu?
Yeah.
That was
Guardians
the
of
deity.
Galaxy 2 was Daddy.
Yes.
Beat him. Spider-Man was Vulture, but he didn't really beat him. He's still in prison, but he was a one-off villain for the time. Ragnarok was it Helena?
Hela.
Sure. Anyways, you're probably right. I'm
Hela.
probably wrong. She gone, which I hated that they didn't keep her around. Black Panther, you had
Killmonger.
Killmonger. I liked Killmonger.
I did too. I was very disappointed that they killed him off so quickly.
So if
I
you
will
look
give
at
you that.
So if you look at this list, outside of Hydra and Loki and Thanos.
Yeah, I was going to say Thanos as well.
Right.
Because he's one that's been weaved throughout.
There really is no continuous villain. And, I mean...
I don't find that super problematic, though, only because they've got, there's so many characters and, they all have their own, demons that they're fighting and their villains that they're fighting. I mean, look at Captain America. I mean, Bucky has been a constant in all of his movies, whether it's as his best friend or as his foil.
Yeah, but if you kill off all your best characters, all your best villains, then you're pulling second-rate villains up to kind of... So that...
I'll give you that.
So I think that's one of the issues I had. But, for DCU, because I don't want to just bash on Marvel. One issue I have with DCU is that I think they started late in the game, and they started the wrong way. Because see, Marvel, I believe, set the standard for superhero movies.
Okay.
And if it's not that standard, I almost feel like the mindset is it's not good enough. But I think Warner Brothers has the money, and they have the ability to make a good DCU movie. I think they struggle.
Yes.
I think they struggle, and
I want them to succeed. That's the thing. I'm not hating on DC just to hate on them, because you know what? Good comic book movies are good comic book movies,
right?
And if you make good comic book movies, you can continue making good comic book movies. So I want them to succeed. I want them to make good movies. They have not, with the exception of Wonder Woman, they have not made a movie that I would watch a second time.
Right. Well, I'd watch Justice League a second time. I'd watch BVS a second time. I'd watch Wonder Woman a second time. Man of Steel I can keep on the shelf along with Suicide Squad and whatnot. But I agree. I want them to succeed, and I think Lizzie said it the best a while back, was that DCU fans are not upset that they're getting movies. They're upset because they see what Marvel can do, and they want a good movie, and it upsets them when they're not getting the movie that they feel like that they want.
Absolutely.
And that is what bothers me. Like I said, I could deal with the darkness, but that's probably a problem with the DCU, is that Zack Snyder's mindset is dark as far as when he world builds. And you're not going to get your average moviegoer to take somebody. I'm not going to take a kid to see Justice League. It's fun, but there's some dark elements in there.
And you know what? That's fine. They don't have to be for everybody. There are plenty of adult themed comic books. And there are, plenty of adult themed stories. And if DC wants to world build and make it so that their movies are aimed towards the older fans, I mean, you're not going to take a kid to see Deadpool.
Well,
although there were several children in my showing of Deadpool 2.
By the way, did I tell you when I went and saw Jurassic World last night? There was two kids in there. This is funny. I know I'm changing topic. So one young couple brought in a baby, and the baby would cry every now and then, and they took the baby out. I was okay with that. But they had one little kid who was probably 5 years old. Every time a dinosaur would show up on screen, he would roar in the middle of the theater. And I thought it was cute and funny. I thought it was hilarious.
See, But
my mindset is that kid is not going to be able to sleep tonight after watching some of those scenes in that movie.
See, no, that's where I kind of disagree with you. And I was I was one of those kids that I could sit through a movie. So when I was little, my grandfather and I would go to the movies every Saturday. From age 3 on, like I could sit through a movie and behave, and I saw a lot of movies as a kid. Movies that I saw The Wrath of Khan in theaters. Was bored to tears, but I saw it.
Yeah.
But I used to babysit, and I mentioned this on an episode a while back. I used to babysit these 2 little boys, and the younger one was only about 2, and his favorite movie was The Lost World.
All right.
And, we would watch it before bedtime, and he would not have any trouble going to sleep. So, I don't have an issue with taking a child to see something like, Jurassic World, as long as they're going to sit through it and not be a nuisance. No, honestly,
they had some people getting pretty upset about it, and I'm just sitting there laughing because I think it's hilarious that this little kid is roaring like a dinosaur every time a dinosaur comes on screen. It's funny.
You know what? The movie's been out for 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
I'll give them that because I don't want it in my opening night movie.
No.
Opening weekend, you keep your kids at home if they can't behave.
Yes.
But 2 weeks out in the middle of the week, you want to take your kid to see. Go ahead. And if they're roaring through the film, okay, fine, they're roaring through the film. Don't bring your baby though, because that's just babies are not going to sit through a movie.
No. Oh, we got way off topic.
That's fine.
I was glad that you brought up the world building thing. I think that's one thing that MCU has done really well at. I think they have built the world that they wanted, and I think they've expanded it. And I think that DCU needs to follow that. They need to build a world and they need to expand it instead of just keeping it around certain characters. For example, Superman. Mm-hmm. They need to build out that world. I mean, in MCU, you've gone to I can't even think where Thor's coming from now.
Asgard.
Yeah. You've gone to Asgard. In the DCU, all you've gone to is Earth and the Mascara.
Which the Mascara is pretty much donezo. No,
right.
But they got rid of everybody.
Right. So at least Marvel still has that universe. So I think they've done good. They're good family movies. They're entertaining. I think they're great entertainment movies. They had a plan and they executed it. This is what they saw the long game. They said this is where we want to get to, and I think it's been good that they have had one producer over it all.
Yeah.
And that's Kevin Feige. And I think he's done great. Now they've had other people with him.
Yes, but Kevin Feige this is his,
Right. He had a plan. He said, listen, you give me, 13, 14 years, I'll get you to where you want to go. And they did. And I think that's one problem that Warner Brothers has is that they want to stick their hands in when they need to let go and give it to one person and let them develop it and build the world. And I think that's where they mess up. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that I should say I think that DC has potential. I do.
Yes.
And especially if you give people like Patty
Patty Jenkins.
Thank you. You give Patty Jenkins the helm. If you give people that want to tell the right and good kinds of stories, I have issues with Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
And after reading the treatment of what the Wonder Woman he wanted to make was, I'm glad that they didn't let him make that movie.
It was rough.
And it was also very, very sexist, which I have a real issue with. But if you let people, look at Taika Waititi, what he did with Thor Ragnarok. Look at what they did with Black Panther.
Yeah.
You get people who aren't just in it for the paycheck.
Right.
I would have loved for them to have made the Nicolas Cage, Kevin Smith Batman that they talked about, or Superman that they had talked about making years ago.
See, I don't want Nicolas Cage playing any of my superheroes on screen.
Just because
he can play Cyborg.
And it's just because it would have been a passion project. And I'm not saying that it would have been phenomenal, but who knows? Because it wasn't just this is for their paycheck. These are two dudes that really love this character and want to make a movie.
Right.
So I think that's, and I think Marvel has that, and that's part of what DC is lacking.
Now on the flip side, I think there are some things that DC has that I think Marvel lacks. And,
okay.
And you can stop me if you think I'm wrong. Now this is a personal note. I think the characters are more relatable in DC than Marvel. That's me personally. I think the music is memorable in DC. Like, you remember those scores. The one score that I remember the most is the Avengers theme, mm-hmm. and whatever the main song they used for Thor Ragnarok.
Immigrant Song?
Yeah, that's just those are like the only two songs I remember though from DC. But I like the film scores from Marvel. But I like the film scores of DC. I think they're great scores.
See, now I'm the opposite, because I can't even think about what. It doesn't even come back to me what the scores are in DC movies, but all of the Marvel scores are much more memorable for me. And
that's
funny. Look at Guardians of the Galaxy. They completely
changed it.
Absolutely. By giving us these amazing soundtracks.
I would like to know the song "Hooked on a Feeling," what the downloads were before that movie came out to after that movie came out. How many people downloaded that song?
Well, you also have to think about the fact that song has had some pop culture, life with Ally McBeal. I don't know if you remember that TV show. It was on in the 90s.
No.
It was Callista Flockhart. She played a lawyer, and she fantasized about having a baby, and the dancing baby. I'm sure you've seen the dancing baby.
Yeah.
No?
I think so.
But that song was the soundtrack to that baby. So whenever the baby would jump on screen, all you'd hear was "Ooga Chaka, Ooga Chaka."
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So that song. That song has had some, had a rebirth in pop culture.
Well, so to continue, I think some things that were good were I like the symbolism in the DC universe, and I like the very complex themes. I like movies that I have to think sometimes too, that make me think. And I think both have a good set of interconnected stories between the universes. But I think one thing that DC has is they have a very diverse group of characters.
Okay.
More so than Marvel, I think. I think the diversity, because when you throw in Suicide Squad, you have a lot of different ethnicities and origins and that kind of thing. I think they have more. Now I think Marvel's getting there. I think Marvel is getting to more diversity, but I think the DC has more diversity at the moment. Just because they have that Suicide Squad movie where you have where you have Cyborg, you have it's not Boomerang.
Cyborg wasn't in Suicide Squad.
No, but I'm talking about him as a diverse character in the in the overall universe. Anyways, but
I mean, I guess I don't know. I mean, I think that I don't think any of the characters, except for maybe Antman, are really relatable.
I love some Antman.
But I'm also not watching these movies because they're relatable. But Antman is the only, in my opinion, Antman is the only character that's actually a regular everyday dude. Him and Hawkeye.
Well, Hawkeye's not really a superhero.
But oh, you shut up. He most certainly is.
I wouldn't say that one for weeks. But I think the Flash is relatable. And I understand he's got a dad who's in prison. I get that. But he's an everyday teenager who wants to be accepted. He wants to.
Sure.
And he thought it was really cool. He got to meet Batman, and so I think he's relatable. I think the pain that Bruce feels. Now, I'm not saying because he's got a lot of money, but the pain Bruce feels when he loses his parents, I think that's relatable to some people.
Yes, but the thing is that is as a child when he loses his parents. But you know what? I mean, after 30 years, maybe get some counseling. For Christ's sakes, I mean, you're loaded. Get a therapist.
Yeah. Well, Green Arrow is not a superhero either. So, me and my buddies, we had a debate a while back as to what is, if we were to boil it down, what is a superhero?
Yeah.
And a superhero, and we come to the conclusion that a superhero is somebody that has gifts that alter them and give them special abilities. For example, Green Arrow is not a superhero. Batman is not really a superhero. We even threw that Superman's not even a superhero because Superman is a Kryptonian.
He's an alien.
We threw that Thor is not a superhero because Thor's a demigod. But Green Lantern, in essence, isn't a superhero because if without the ring, he's just a normal man. But somebody like Flash is a genuine superhero because something altered him to make him a superhero. So, anyways, I thought that was interesting.
Okay.
That's why I can't believe Hawkeye's a superhero, and neither is Black Widow. I'm making people mad today.
Black Widow has
really?
has a version of the serum.
Does she?
She does.
So is Black Panther a superhero?
Yeah.
Because he ate the flower.
I believe so. With Black Panther, I think his powers manifested. I think the powers are passed down after the death of the previous Black Panther. So
right.
he gains the powers when his dad dies, becomes the Black Panther. Has the powers stripped so that he can, fight any challengers.
Right.
And then, quote unquote, really earn the title. And then he eats the flower to get those powers back.
Okay. I can give that. So, Black Panther is. Ant-Man's not. Doctor Strange isn't. Spider-Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can give you that.
Captain America, yes.
Captain America, yes. The Incredible Hulk,
yes. Bucky Barnes is as well, because he's got the serum as well.
Who?
Winter
Bucky?
Soldier. Yep, he's got the serum.
I can see that, yep. Guardians of the Galaxy, I think the only one in there that would really be considered superhero would be Peter Quill.
Nope.
But then again, I wouldn't even get to him because he is part human and part god.
Yep. He's a demigod, so he's not really a superhero. If we're going,
there's Ant-Man.
If we're going by your definition.
Yeah. So it is interesting. It is. Just a little thought. Well, since we've been bashing all over everything, you said you didn't like Man of Steel, but you were okay with Suicide Squad.
Yeah, because you know what it was with Suicide Squad. I went in with very low expectations because I didn't like.
And they exceeded the low expectations.
They did, absolutely, because I didn't like Man of Steel or Batman v Superman. So I was like, I'm gonna go in with low expectations, and it was a fun popcorn movie.
Yeah, I can see that. And they actually rank under my kind of least favorite movies. Not that they're bad. I'd rather watch the other ones. For Marvel, I really did not like. I didn't like Age of Ultron.
It wasn't great.
No. We already mentioned Thor, the 1 and 2. I wasn't a big fan of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I thought they tried too hard to emulate and go beyond the first one, and I think that's kind of where they flubbed up.
You know what? I felt that it was kind of a miss, but at the same time, I mean, I still really enjoyed it.
Right.
Except, I'm done with the let's kill everybody's fathers off. And that's only because I lost my dad 2.5 years ago. So I saw Logan not long after my dad died.
My.
So I was not prepared for both Charles Xavier and, I knew Logan was going to die, but I didn't think it was going to be, as gut-wrenching as it was. And then...
he'll be back. Once Disney gets Fox, he'll be back.
And then with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, I wasn't upset about Ego dying, because, we find out that he's actually, a jerk. But, Yondu dying and, Peter recognizing him as his father figure, I'm like, I was crying in that movie, too. I'm like, okay, everyone stop killing dads off now.
Hey, he was Mary Poppins. Get some of that.
This is true.
So what are some of your favorite Marvel movies?
So all-time top would be Winter Soldier.
Okay.
I can watch that movie over and over again. That's a lot of times, like, that's even like my go-to-sleep movie.
That was the first movie I remember from the Marvel Universe that affected the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Mm-hmm. Because you saw the whole season was about the fallout of Winter Soldier. So I thought that was very good.
That's definitely, like, my absolute favorite one. I had some issues with Civil War, but that's only because I'm a big fan of the comic.
Captain America or Avengers 3 or whatever it was, Civil War.
Captain America Civil War.
Captain America Civil War Avengers Part 3. Yeah.
I took issue with that, and I do have some issues with it. And I know Tim's gonna hate me, but I really like Antman. I think it's a lot of fun.
Me too.
And the original The Avengers is another one that I will go back and watch over and over again.
So I understand why they had Civil War act like they did. They needed to split them up for the rest of the series. I get that. But I don't like how it happened. I thought it could have been done better. But yeah, I know Tim's gonna hate me too. I enjoyed Ant-Man because it was different. It's almost a standalone film, and I like those standalone films that don't connect to a point with the bigger universe. They're there, but you also know that they can stand alone on their own. Like, I can go in and watch Ant-Man and not have any recollection about what's going on in any other part of the MCU, and I understand what's going on in Ant-Man. And I like those kind of standalone movies. So I really enjoyed Ant-Man. Guardians of the Galaxy was really good for me. I thought it was funny. I thought it was good. Captain America, I really enjoyed the first one. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed Iron Man. Every time I watch it, I still enjoy it. Just something about it. I just laugh every time he goes to the podium with 2 Whoppers and he's just sitting here eating a Whopper, talking to the media.
Yep. That said, you know what? And a lot of people hated it, but I actually really enjoyed Iron Man 3.
Really?
Yes.
I'd rather have Iron Man 2 than 3. I didn't mind Iron Man 2. But something that's always bothered me, though, is that Iron Man can take a hit from Hulk in his suit, can get struck with Thor's lightning, can take a blast from a tank, but when he hits a normal truck, his suit busts. Mm-hmm. So
by all rights, he is the MCU's and he's Marvel's answer to Batman.
He is, and there's talks of him having a role outside of after it, and I think they could be very good. But one that I really like is I've really grown to like Spider-Man: Homecoming. I thought it was fun. I enjoyed seeing that Peter Parker. I can't wait till we talk about 1, 2, and 3 with whatever his name is.
Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about those on Caped Chronicles. And actually, the other day, I was at a July 4th party yesterday, and The Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Jamie Foxx was actually playing, and I watched it. I'm like, yeah, I used to really like this, and now I understand why people don't like this one. So I really enjoyed Homecoming. I thought it was good. And you mentioned you liked Wonder Woman.
I loved Wonder Woman.
I enjoyed I thoroughly enjoyed Wonder Woman. I liked BVS and Justice League. I'll say it again. And I'm really getting excited about Aquaman. And Aquaman, I have a hard time taking seriously because it's just so. His superpower is he talks to fish.
He's useless.
It's yeah. You get in the water, then we'll fight. And it's one of the things that. Why? Because I always picture him in the green pants and the orange shirt. Is just from the old Super Friends cartoon and stuff. It's irritating. But I think they've done a good job with this one. And I think they're building him up to be something good. I'm excited about the trailer. It's supposed to drop at Comic-Con. That's San Diego Comic-Con. So I'll be excited to see that trailer when it comes out. And it's the only superhero film coming out around that time. Mm-hmm. So I think it will do well. If it has a good trailer and it does not give away every detail, I think it'll do very well.
I mean, I'll see it because, I like Jason Momoa and I like superhero movies, so I'll see it. But I don't have high hopes for it. Even though he was probably one of the brighter spots to Justice League.
Yeah.
Anyways. So, I think on that note, I mean, this is the problem when Jay's not here. I run long. He likes to keep time.
And I want, if anybody out there is offended about anything I said about Marvel, I didn't mean it to be offensive. I love Marvel. I will see Marvel movies. I've grown up DC. DC was the first thing I ever saw, and therefore, it's always going to be my favorite. My first introduction to Marvel was the X-Men. It was X-Men Evolution. So I mean, I have no ill will against Marvel. I like them both, and I tell people all the time, look, we get superhero movies. So why complain?
Exactly.
We get to watch more heroes on screen.
Even bad superhero movies are still superhero movies.
Yes.
So let me just do a little bit of housekeeping. And I don't have my thing queued up either. But you can find us at April and Jay Have No Ideas at gmail.com. We're on Twitter, A and J Have No Ideas. We're on Discord. Where can people find you, Mike?
You can find me on Discord, obviously, but you can also find me on Twitter at @OB_Mike Kenobi. And
I love that.
Oh. And you can also find me on Caped Chronicles when those are released. We try to release those every couple weeks.
Okay. And so on that note, I feel like I'm forgetting something, but who knows at this point? Like I said, we ran long this evening. So on that note, I've been April.
And I'm still not Jay.
And that was an idea.